This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz, and I'm very excited to be speaking with Melissa Benoist about the girls on the bus. How are you, Melissa?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be speaking with you.
Can you tell me how do you get your news in the morning?
I am a subscriber of a hard copy of the New York Times, and I get it every single day of the week.
Okay, so this seems like a natural fit that this role would be something that's up your alley.
Yeah, I consider myself a really informed citizen. I really care about, the issues that I care about and being informed as informed as I can be to make the decisions of who I'm going to vote for. And I try to keep up. And so, yeah, this kind of felt like, I ate the subject matter up when I was afforded the opportunity. The more I learned about political journalism, I loved it.
How true to life do you think this show really is?
We tried to stay as authentic as possible, and I know that former colleagues of Amy Chozik's, it was based on Amy's experience on the campaign trail in 2008 and 2016, and her book is about her experience on the road with Hillary Clinton's campaign. So we tried to really stay true to what it feels like, the energy, the what it takes, the friendships you cultivate. I know she was really adamant that we stayed as authentic as possible, down to like the snacks that would be on the table and what food we ate on the bus.
What were some of the big takeaways of that? What is the choice, the snap of choice?
That's not great. It's like soggy turkey sandwiches and um, you know, uh like lots of carbs. Bad coffee.
Sadie seems like a really fun character, but she also definitely is not, doesn't always make the best decisions. What did you like most about her, and what did you sort of struggle to relate to?
That's what I liked was how multidimensional and faceted she is. That she's not without her flaws. And that she is incredibly driven and passionate about what she does. And because of that, maybe she lacks some self-awareness about other things and maybe doesn't make the best decisions for her personal life. But professionally, she is such a hustler. And that I just loved that about her, how passionate she was. Something I couldn't relate to was sort of romanticizing this. She really romanticizes this sort of bygone era of reporting. And while I understand the nostalgia for something that doesn't exist anymore, it was such a boys' club. So that I don't really always resonate with like the Thompson of it all. I don't think that's something that holds up.
Right. She's also sort of like a middle ground, I think, between Grace and Lola, where somebody who's not quite as like hardened and pessimistic, but also knows what she's been around long enough to know what she's doing. Even if she makes mistakes, she's
Sure.
aware of what she's doing.
Yes, she is not completely a cynic.
What can you say about your co-stars?
I adore them all. I know a lot of actors always say this, like we all got along. This cast like really, truly loved each other, and specifically with the four women, it was kind of instantaneous, and we just it felt like the universe bringing four people together that were meant to meet in this moment and this season of our lives, and it was very much like the characters in the show that we all come from very different walks of life, very different backgrounds and life experiences. Generationally, we kind of span uh, some years, and we were really able to meet in the middle and are kind of four birds of a feather. And they're all so uniquely special and gifted in their own ways. And I was so grateful that I got to work with three such brilliant women, intelligent and brilliant in their abilities and their passions. And I cannot say enough good things about them.
I also like the banter that your character has with Brandon Scott's character. What was it like working with him?
He's so talented. He is so talented and he really, really cares. I just am such a fan of Brandon Scott. He's another smart actor. A lot of what you see in Loafers Say on the show is improvised, and it was always things like I think when Loafer said I went to Yale, that was improvised, and it was always so informed with his character. A lot of people just improvise to try to be funny, but he improvised just because he was in it and he was Loafers. And I was really impressed by that. And the two of us just had a great chemistry, and were able
There's
to
also
really play. It felt like the back and forth was just really energetic.
I mean, some of this show definitely feels like it's a comedy, and then some of it feels like it's this All the President's Men style thriller. What was it like filming it? Did it feel like one or the other, or it depended on the scene?
It depended on the scene. It definitely depended on the scene. I think the through line that we all knew was very important was the exploration of female friendships and unity, finding unity in the most unexpected places. And especially right now in a world that is so polarized, that was something we were really trying to convey, whether or not that was comedic or more dramatic and heartfelt. Um, but yeah, it depended on the day, on the scene, and the circumstance. Because in essence, I think, especially nowadays, that is politics. Sometimes it can be a little absurd. And then sometimes it's in dire and life and death circumstances and very serious. And, the state of the country is at stake. So I think that it sort of mirrored life in that way.
And I know that the show, unfortunately, was not renewed for a second season. I'm not sure what was actually in development. Did you have a sense of what might have been next if that was to happen?
I knew that, and I think Amy Chozick and one of our executive producers, Julie Pleck, have spoken about this publicly. But so I don't feel like I'm out of turn in saying this. I know that what they wanted to do, if season one was the primaries, season two would have been the general election, and season three would have been the White House, which was so exciting. There was so many stories that we would have had so much fun in telling, and it's really a sad thing that we don't get to. Um, but I'm really grateful that we were able to at all, and the experience was so beautiful and fulfilling for me that nothing's going to take away from that.
I feel like there was also a political undercurrent in a positive way to Supergirl watching that, just in terms of featuring a lot of sort of things that you wouldn't necessarily associate it typically with comic book stories. How do you look back on that era? Do you feel like that show was sort of forward facing in that way?
Um, Sadly, yes, in the very simple way that when we started Supergirl, when it first went on air, I was the first female superhero-led TV show since Wonder Woman, since Linda Carter. Because I think Adrian Paliki's never, I think that was just a pilot. Um, so in the very simple way that it was breaking ground for more female superheroes, yeah, I do. I do think that we were sort of topical in that regard. And I think that really carried throughout the 6 seasons of the show, especially in our fourth season. We were always very keenly aware that we had maybe a little bit more of a platform in that way to like speak about um, current issues. And we had our fourth season kind of mirrored what we were. It was 2016, so that was at the forefront of the writers' minds.
You also were a part of Waco, which was very interesting and much sort of, I think, darker in a lot of ways than what you tend to do. What was that experience like?
I really enjoyed working on that show. That was another group of people that um, really cared about the subject matter. We had Branch Davidian survivors on set. We also had FBI agents that were there on the scene on set. So trying to honor every perspective of that situation was really key. And Taylor Kitsch, I give him so much credit for how much compassion he showed David Koresh in his portrayal of him. And like just a stellar cast that I'm so grateful I got to work with everyone on that show.
Well, when we're talking about shows that are, forward facing and inclusive, I know Glee was a big start of the launch of your career. How do you look back on that show now, so many years later?
I look back on it with I sort of can't believe that all of us did that. You know, we were also young, and granted, I was only there for a really short period of time, and by the time I joined the show, it was already part of the zeitgeist. It was already this, it had this aura about it. Um, but I'm just really struck at how I look back and I'm so grateful for the what it taught me, and it taught me to uh, be a hard worker. And it taught me to that I can do really tough things.
You also were on Broadway in Beautiful. Is that something you'd like to go back and do again in the future?
Always. It was my first love. It will always be my first love. Theater is where I got my start and what I wanted to do from the get-go. And I am always trying to get back on stage.
Have a sense of what you're doing next?
Yeah, I have a production company that's affiliated with Warner Brothers, so I'm developing things. I'm trying to get my own stories out there, and I'm really passionate about that. Um, yeah, got some things
Great.
in the works. Hopefully something will stick.
Awesome. Well, here at Awards Buzz, we love awards. So I'm curious if there is a show or a performance that you've seen recently that you feel is particularly awards worthy.
As I'm sure everyone, it seems, was blown away by Baby Reindeer. I thought it was an incredibly powerful story of survival that really resonated with me. Give them all awards.
It is the most popular choice. I'd be happy to know, as you expected. So definitely a good one. So, well, thank you so much, Melissa. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I wish you luck with whatever comes next.
Thank you so much. It was so lovely to speak to you.